All right, everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we are going to try to answer the question, who is the best skateboarder over 40 years old? And I will say right away, I am not including vert skaters in this list. Nothing against vert skateboarding, it just doesn't really do anything for me. I also find it super interesting when you see a skater over 40 that's still ripping on street courses or out in the real street. So we're going to be focusing on those skaters. This video was kind of a lot longer in the making than I thought it would be. I initially had like 2 or 3 skaters over 40 that I thought that I liked, that I watched regularly, and then when I started doing a little bit of research for this video, I got like 14 or 15 skaters pretty quick. So I narrowed it down to about 9 skaters over 40 that I personally find are the most fun to watch, the most inspirational, and the ones that I just kind of prefer. If there's someone that I don't mention on this list of 9 people, then definitely drop them in the comments because I want to check them out. There are a lot of skaters that rip in their late 30s, so I'm aware of that too. So starting off the list, we are going to go youngest to oldest. So we're going to start with the young bucks coming in at 40 years old, and I'm going to start with Manny Santiago. I've been a fan of Manny's for a long time. This dude just seems cool as hell. He probably has the most consistent technical style on the list of skaters over 40 here. And if you didn't catch it, he just recently put out a video called This Is 40 on YouTube, and it is pretty awesome. What he's capable of doing at 40 years old is pretty impressive. Next on the list, coming in at 40 years old as well, is Paul Rodriguez, aka P-Rod. As you know, P-Rod has his own technical, consistent style. He's still skating down gaps. He's still getting technical. He's still doing a lot of impressive stuff at 40 years old. Really liked his interview recently on Neen Williams' new podcast, the NADC podcast, where he talked about his issues around drinking. And I think that's important for younger guys because, as we know, substance and substance abuse is pretty common in the skate scene. A lot of people get deep into alcohol, weed, things like that. But I like that a lot of these guys are coming out in their older years that are still skating, and they're talking about what they're doing to help deal with that. And he had a pretty interesting story and strategy of dealing with his issues around alcohol, and I thought that was interesting. Next on the list, coming in at a young age of 43 years old, is Chris Cole. Like many people, I'm sure, when I think of Chris Cole, I think of the 360 flip down Wallenberg. But, to this day, he's still putting out clips on Instagram. It seems to be having a lot of fun, playing music, doing woodworking, things like that. And, let's be honest, he absolutely ripped in his day. He was Thrasher Skater of the Year twice, I think. And he spent about 10 years competing at a high level, I think into his mid to late 30s. And from what he's been posting, he still rips, he still got it. He's just a real blast to watch. He still has that kind of chill, precise, technical Chris Cole style. And also coming in at 43 years old is someone that I wasn't honestly paying a whole lot of attention to. I kind of slept on this guy for a while, but Brandon Turner seems to be popping up a lot more in my algorithm lately. I don't know about you guys. And when I started paying more attention to him, I don't know how I wasn't paying attention to him when I was younger, because Brandon Turner absolutely rips. It wasn't that long ago that he did his switch hard flip down Wallenberg. And then again, on the topic of dealing with substance abuse and how embedded it is in our skate culture, he actually went as far as opening up his own recovery clinic. I think he has his own rehab facility, basically, and he talks openly a lot about this. So good on him, doing a lot of really cool stuff, and obviously still ripping at a pretty high level at 43. So that's awesome. Coming in at 46 years old is Bam Margera. All right, here's my take on Bam, guys. Like, honestly, he can do whatever he wants. I hope he's healthy. I hope he's sober. I hope he does good and, is a good father and all that stuff. But at the same time, like, the guy, let's be honest, he gave so many of us so many good memories. I don't know about you, but I was obsessed with CKY2K. Viva La Bam, Jackass, all of the stuff he did to give us so much entertainment as children and young adults. It's really, really cool to see him seemingly sober, lucid, skating, traveling around, having fun, pulling tricks, getting clips, getting pictures and documenting all of it and seeming to kind of have fun and really kind of be in a groove right now on social media, at least it seems. So, good for him. Let's be honest, he's going to go down as a legend either way in a lot of our eyes. We're starting to get up there. Coming in at 47 years old is the boss, Andrew Reynolds. I'll admit, when I got back into skating about 10 years ago, I went through a lot of different decks and nothing really felt right for the first few years. And I ended up landing on Baker Death Wish wood. And that did kind of get me into paying more attention to Andrew Reynolds again. And I just really liked what I saw, and I started to remember why I liked watching him when I was younger. Obviously, he has this really big, robust style, but then also it's his trick selection. I really like big, proper, simple trick selection, and I think he's the epitome of that. He still has that style. You watch his clips that he puts up, and he still has it. He's still popping his frontside flip down gaps. He still has that touch. He still has, I think, the worthiness of the boss. So good for him. And of course, sober, has his own run-in with dealing with substance abuse, alcohol. So again, I'm not trying to make it the theme of this video, but young kids, keep an eye on that shit. Keep an eye on it. Pay attention to people around you if they tell you that you're overdoing it. Pay attention to how much you're partying. Make sure it's not affecting any of the positive things that you like in life, and just kind of keep your finger on the pulse. Next is coming in at 48 years old, Tom Penny. Tom Penny is one of those guys that just doesn't change, which I think there's something really admirable about that. I don't know about you, but I started skating when I was 12, 13, and there were about 2 or 3 years I skated, and then I didn't skate again until I was 29, 30 years old. So there was quite a big gap there. And, I think for those of us that had that big gap, which is pretty common with adults in their 30s and 40s and 50s who are still skating, looking at someone like Tom Penny, who just never changed, and you can look at him and I don't know, it's funny to me in a way, all the way down to his style, his steez that he has. I think it just never changed, and he's 48 years old and still popping tricks down gaps, still has a very, very smooth, flowy, iconic style that only is Tom Penny. He's one of those guys where you see a silhouette and you're like, yeah, that's Tom Penny. I actually think of that, I don't know if you guys remember that video, Anthology of Skateboarding. It was one of the few VHSs that I had. I just didn't really have a whole lot of accumulation of videos when I was younger in skateboarding. And so I always think of when Rob Dyrdek is explaining the legendary session that he had with Tom Penny at that chain to bank. If you know, you know. But the clips of all of the tricks that went down on that session always kind of were burned in my mind, and that's still what I think about when I think of Tom Penny. As we're moving up in age now, we're coming in at 49 years old, and that is Geoff Rowley. Rowley? I think it's Rowley. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sure someone will. I had to do a double take on his age. 49 years old. When I think of him, I think of that really big front 50 down, I think it was the Staples Center ledge, hubba, whatever you want to call it, that enormous, monstrosity of, what some consider a skate obstacle. The thing just seems so big. But his front 50 down that, I think about a lot when I think about him. And he's someone when you watch interviews now and you watch his the kind of clips that he's posting on social media, he just really seems like he never lost his love for skateboarding. He seems like one of those people in his late 40s. He's just kind of going right back to where he was. Doesn't really have any kind of hesitancy to popping tricks off of things or down things. He's still doing it, and it's really, really cool to see. Finally come to the man that really gave me the idea to make this video, which is Pat Duffy. Pat Duffy is 50 years old. He might be 51 now, but I'm pretty sure he's definitely 50. And that is pretty wild when you consider the kind of clips that he puts out and the level of skating that he's still doing right now. I mean, I think it's something where you really only understand it if you skate. And this is really where I think that there's a kind of a difference between the dudes that are 50 and they're still skating vert and the dudes that are 50 and are doing what Pat Duffy is doing. I don't really know a lot of them in their 50s that are doing what he's doing. So part of the reason I wanted to make this video was, if you guys know about anyone out there that's still doing this kind of stuff in their 50s, then let me know who they are, because from what I see, kind of in my algorithm, I don't really see a lot of people doing what Pat Duffy is doing at his age. And obviously, I mean, he's Pat Duffy, right? Like, we can't expect everyone to be doing this, but I just think there's a difference and something to be said about someone that is doing this stuff and flipping their board, going down stuff, doing these kind of technical tricks, versus someone that's doing it fully padded on a ramp or on a vert ramp. Now that stuff terrifies me too. There's something to be said for that, but I just think it's different. I don't know. Maybe it could be me. I just enjoy watching street skating, but I don't know. Let me know what you think. Anyway, so there you have it. Those are my favorite skaters over 40. Let me know if there's anyone else out there that I am totally missing. Maybe I'm sleeping on someone else that I'm sure I am. Let me know if I should be giving a little bit more credit to the vert skaters. Obviously, I love them. They're animals. My heart just belongs to street skating. As always, appreciate you guys watching, and we'll be seeing you soon.